the first time I realized my husband was cheating on me. My best friend was sitting across from me, holding my hand, pretending to comfort me. That's the part that still makes me sick. Not the affair, not the divorce. Not even the lies. It was the way she looked me in the eyes every single day and acted like she loved me while she was sleeping with my husband behind my back. My name is Claire. I'm 37 years old, and 3 years ago, I thought I had the perfect life in Denver. I had a beautiful home, a successful husband, a tight-knit group of friends, and a marriage that looked solid from the outside. Ethan and I had been together for 12 years. We met in college, survived bad apartments, student debt, layoffs, miscarriages, and all the ugly things people say destroy relationships. I thought surviving hardship meant your marriage was real. Turns out, it just made me easier to manipulate. Ethan was the kind of man everyone loved. Charming, funny, confident. He could walk into any room and make people feel important. He worked in commercial real estate and knew exactly how to sell himself to people, including me. My best friend Madison had been in my life since high school. She was beautiful in that effortless way that made other women insecure without even trying. Blonde hair, perfect smile, soft voice. Men always noticed her first, but she always told me, "Claire, you're the lucky one. You actually found a good man." I used to believe her. The affair started long before I discovered it. Looking back now, the signs were humiliatingly obvious. Ethan suddenly cared about the gym again. Madison started showing up at our house more often when I wasn't home. They developed little inside jokes I didn't understand. But when you trust people, your brain protects you from ugly truths. You explain things away. You don't want to look crazy. The first crack happened on my birthday. We had dinner at a rooftop restaurant downtown. Ethan spent half the night texting someone, while Madison kept distracting me with stories from work. At one point, Ethan went to the bathroom, and Madison casually reached across the table. "You know he loves you, right?" The question felt strange. Obviously, I laughed. She smiled, but something about it looked forced. I just think sometimes people forget to appreciate what they have. At the time, I thought she was talking about her own dating disasters. Now I know she was easing her guilt. A week later, I found a receipt in Ethan's jacket pocket for a hotel downtown. Tuesday afternoon, 2 cocktails. King Suite. My stomach dropped instantly, but when I confronted him, he didn't even flinch. "That was for a client meeting," he said calmly. "You think I'd really cheat on you and leave evidence in my pocket?" And somehow, I ended up apologizing. That's what manipulative people do. They make you feel irrational for noticing reality. After that, things got colder between us. Ethan stopped touching me. Conversations became transactional. He criticized everything. The way I dressed, the way I cooked, even the way I laughed. One night, he looked at me during dinner and said, "You've changed." I remember staring at him, completely blindsided. "What does that mean?" "You used to care about yourself more." That one sentence shattered something in me, because deep down I already felt him pulling away. And instead of admitting what he was doing, he made me feel like I deserved it. Madison became my emotional support through all of it. That's the twisted part. She would come over with wine and sit side-eyed me on the couch while I cried about my marriage. "He's probably stressed," she'd whisper. "Men shut down emotionally sometimes." Meanwhile, she was sleeping with him in hotel rooms across the city. I discovered the truth by accident. Or maybe fate finally got tired of humiliating me. Ethan left his Apple Watch charging in the bathroom while he showered downstairs after the gym. A message lit up on the screen: "Madison. Last night was worth every risk." I swear my body stopped functioning for a second. I couldn't breathe. My ears started ringing. I opened the messages, and suddenly my entire reality collapsed in front of me. Photos, videos, messages going back almost 11 months. He called her beautiful in ways he hadn't spoken to me in years. She mocked me with him. That part destroyed me more than the sex. One message said, "She still thinks I'm helping her save the marriage." And Ethan replied, "That's because Claire sees what she wants to see." I threw up in the sink, actually threw up. Then I sat on the bathroom floor shaking, while the man I loved hummed downstairs like nothing had happened. I wanted to scream. I wanted to destroy the house. But instead, something colder happened. I became calm, terrifyingly calm, because in that moment I realized two things. First, they thought I was weak. Second, they had absolutely no idea who they were dealing with. I didn't confront them immediately. That's what they expected. Crying, begging, emotional breakdowns. No, I smiled. For 2 entire weeks, I acted completely normal while I gathered evidence. I copied every message, every bank statement, every hotel booking, every lie. And what I discovered made the betrayal even worse. Ethan wasn't just cheating. He was preparing to destroy me financially. Our house was technically under his investment company. Most of our savings had quietly been moved into accounts I didn't recognize. He'd been talking to divorce attorneys for months. Then came the real shock. Madison wasn't just sleeping with him. She was helping him hide assets from me. The woman I trusted like a sister sat with my husband, planning how to leave me with almost nothing after 12 years together. I remember sitting in my car outside a grocery store reading their messages while my hands trembled against the steering wheel. Madison wrote, "She'll fall apart emotionally. You'll win everything." And Ethan replied, "Claire's too soft to fight back." That sentence changed me. Too soft. I repeated it in my head for days. Then I hired the best divorce attorney in Colorado. Quickly, her name was Diane Mercer. And during our first meeting, she listened to everything without interrupting. When I finished, she leaned back in her chair and smiled slightly. "They made a very stupid mistake," she said. "Apparently, moving marital assets around while planning a divorce was illegal as hell, especially when there was documentation, especially when there was fraud involved, especially when your mistress helped coordinate it through text messages." For the first time in weeks, I felt power return to my body. Deanne helped me create a strategy. And the beautiful thing about arrogant people is they never imagine consequences until it's too late. Ethan and Madison thought they controlled the narrative, so I let them believe it. 2 months later, Ethan finally staged his dramatic confession. I'll never forget that performance. He sat across from me at the kitchen table, with fake sadness painted across his face. "I'm not happy anymore, Claire." I nodded slowly, like I didn't already know. "I think we both deserve better." Then came the masterpiece. "I've actually developed feelings for someone else." I asked who. He hesitated just long enough to pretend he cared about hurting me. Then he whispered, "Madison." I stared at him in silence. And this man genuinely expected me to break apart in front of him. Instead, I simply asked, "How long?" "Not long," he lied. I almost laughed. He reached for my hand. "I never meant for this to happen." That's when I realized something horrifying. He believed his own lies. He had rewritten reality so completely that he viewed himself as the victim. I pulled my hand away calmly. "You should leave." His eyebrows lifted slightly. He expected chaos. "That's it?" "Yes." For the first time all night he looked confused. Then he actually said, "I thought you'd fight for us." Fight for us after nearly a year of betrayal, after gaslighting me into questioning my sanity. After stealing from me, I looked him dead in the eyes and said, "You already left a long time ago." 3 days later, he moved into Madison's condo, and that's when I destroyed both of them. Legally. Emotionally. Publicly. Deanne filed everything at once. Financial fraud investigations, asset concealment evidence, screenshots, bank transfers, affair timelines. The judge absolutely buried him. Turns out judges don't love wealthy husbands secretly moving money while planning to abandon their wives for their mistresses. Ethan lost nearly everything. The vacation property? Gone. Half his investments? Gone. His company faced audits after some very interesting financial discrepancies surfaced, but the real karma came from somewhere unexpected: Madison. because once their relationship existed in the open world instead of secret hotel rooms and fantasy texts, it collapsed fast. Affairs thrive on adrenaline, reality kills them. Within months, Ethan became paranoid, controlling, angry, because suddenly he realized something obvious. If Madison could betray her best friend that easily, why would she ever stay loyal to him? And Madison learned the hard way that men who lie for you eventually lie to you. One night, almost a year after the divorce, Madison called me crying. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. He cheated on me, she sobbed. I actually closed my eyes and laughed quietly to myself, not because I'm cruel, but because the universe has a twisted sense of humor. Claire, I think he's seeing someone from work. The silence between us felt enormous. Then she whispered something I'll never forget. I didn't think he'd do it to me. That sentence told me everything about her. People like Madison always believe they're special. They think betrayal only happens to other people. I told her gently, eventually, you become the way you got him. Then I hung up. The craziest part? That wasn't even the end. 6 months later, Ethan showed up at my apartment unexpectedly. He looked terrible. Older, exhausted. Smaller somehow. Gone was the charming man who controlled every room. Now he just looked empty. I made a mistake, he said quietly. I remember staring at him through the doorway, feeling absolutely nothing. No anger, no heartbreak, nothing. He started crying, actual tears. I threw away my life, and maybe that was true. But it wasn't my responsibility anymore. You didn't throw it away, I told him calmly. You traded it. He tried to apologize for everything, the lies, the manipulation, the humiliation. But some damage changes the way you see people forever. I used to think betrayal came from hatred. Now I know it usually comes from selfishness. People destroy others because they want something in the moment. Attention, excitement, validation, and they convince themselves the pain they cause won't matter until they're finally forced to face it. Before Ethan left, he looked at me one last time and asked, "Did you ever really love me?" I almost couldn't believe the question. 12 years together, and somehow he still didn't understand. I did, I said softly. That's why this destroyed me. He cried harder after that, but for the first time in years. His emotions no longer controlled mine. After he left, I sat alone in my apartment with the windows open and realized something strange. I was finally free, not because I got revenge, not because karma won, but because the people who betrayed me no longer had the power to define my worth. And, honestly, that's the part they never saw coming.